Hey, this is Tim, and today we're out doing a house wash. One of the first things you want to do is get your water hooked up. Some of the other things can be done while your water's filling. So, again, this is assuming that you've already meted and greeted the customer and let her know that you're here, and you greeted her by name or him. Let's go ahead and get the hose hooked up and get our water going. All right, we're going to go ahead and hook the hose up. Now, this one here, I've already unhooked the hose. The customer had their hose hooked up here. One thing we want to make sure when we're done, if we unhook anything, that we hook it back up. So before we go, we'll go ahead and hook this hose back up. But now it's ready for our hose to be hooked up. But one step before we do that, sometimes these spigots will have bugs, spider webs. So you just want to turn it on and run it. Make sure you blow out any debris. The last thing you want is to put that debris in your tank on your truck. So I'm going to go ahead and hook up the water. And always turn it on full blast. All right, now that we got our water hooked up, we're going to do a walk around on this house. One of the things you want to look at is possible potential issues for damage, anything you need to document. So this is a good time to go ahead and take before and after pictures. Take pictures of each side of the house. You want to document anything that was pre-existing, just to make sure that we're doing our best possible job that we can do. And of course, if there's something existing, we can document that. So let's have a walk around. I'm just kind of looking to see if there's any damage, any broken windows, any chipped paint, anything like that that would possibly be impacted by a wash that we're doing today. One thing I did notice when I was hooking up the water is we got some single pane windows. You can see that the storms were already removed. So you definitely don't want to put any high pressure in your stream pointing at that stuff. You could possibly crack a window. So that's one thing to look out for. Electrical boxes, make sure that we're not putting any water in electrical boxes. Even though these are weatherproof, you can still get water in here. You can short it, possibly cause a fire. Here's kind of a little mark here. Sometimes if it's non-organic, I don't know if that's smoke or soot or what that is, but that's one of the things that we'd want to document. We'll take a look at that later on and see if our mix takes care of that. Looks like back here we got another vent. And you can kind of see where it's stripped down the house. So again, I don't believe that is organic material. And our house wash stuff cleans up anything organic. If that's like a tar or a soot or anything like that, it's not going to come out. So those types of things too, as you're walking, you want to make sure that you're able to communicate that to your customer. Right here we got a chimney. So if you look at this chimney, there's a lot of moss growth on here. Now what we're out here to do today is to do a soft wash. So when you see things like that, sometimes customers don't completely understand the scope of work, and you want to make sure that you communicate that with them. That this, if we do anything with this, this would be additional today, because this is going to require pressure washing. Our soft wash process, of course, is a gentle process that gently we squirt the solution on and then we rinse it off. And it cleans all the surface debris and organic material. Something like this when you got growth. That's outside of that scope of house soft washing. So this is something that we'll talk to the customer about today. Another thing too, we have a really nice wood fence here. So as you're going through and you're spraying your solution, I would wet this down. So if you get any solution on it, it's not going to make any clean spots on something like that wood over there. Last thing I want to bring to your attention is kind of the front door area. So you have a really nice entrance, and a lot of this is wood. What happens if you don't properly protect that? You could make clean spots. There's a nice, looks like there's a nice stain on there. So something like that, I wouldn't spray any solution on that. And I would also wet it down. That way, if you do tend to get some overspray, you're protecting that wood surface. If something like that gets damaged, it could be a costly mistake.
Okay.
Hey, one thing I wanted to add is we're also looking for open windows too as we're walking around the house. And we got an air conditioner unit up there. So that's something that we want to be really careful with. There's probably going to be a tad bit of water that gets in if we're not super careful. Again, that's something we want to communicate to the customer. Hey, there's an air conditioning unit. It's not completely sealed. We'll do our best to make sure that we're not spraying any water directly in that area. So all the other windows look like they're shut. Also, it's a good time to communicate to the customer that sometimes when there's failed seals, we don't typically see a failed seal until somebody's out washing their house. So just tell them just to be aware if there's any windows that have water leaking in, communicate to us, and we'll be happy to be really careful around those areas. Down here, this was interesting. This is something that could be missed. So this is a basement window, but it's actually kind of tilted in. If you get in that area and you look on the sides, there's definitely going to be some water coming in that area if we're not super careful. And again, this is in a basement. If you spray water into a basement, it tends to collect there and it doesn't drain out real easy. So that's something too that we'll communicate to our customer. Other than that, I think at this point, as long as you communicate these issues to your customer and let them know, kind of set the expectations, I think we're ready to get our stuff ready and start washing this house.